Mel Crissey, Distinguished Alumnus, Class of 1964. Melvin Mel Crissey is a distinguished alumnus of North Georgia and graduated in 1964. A member of the Corps of Cadets during his time at North Georgia, he was a member of Delta and Golf companies and the 1st and 2nd Battalion staffs. He was involved in numerous activities as a student and a cadet. He played intramural football while at North Georgia and was one of the 4 founding cadets and is the sole surviving founder of the Order of Colombo. Upon graduation and being commissioned as a 2nd lieutenant in the Army, he served 22 years before retiring as lieutenant colonel in 1986. While on active duty, he played for and then coached the U.S. Army soccer team located in Fort Sam Houston, Texas. In 1986, Crissey was elected to be president of the South Texas Youth Soccer Association, where he led the organization to establish business offices, the Olympic Development Program for advanced training, and offered more coaches and referee training programs. He was selected as head coach of the United States Deaf Olympic Soccer Team in 1989 to lead the program in the 1990 World Games held in New Zealand. His participation in athletics helped pave the way for North Georgia athletics as we know it today. When he graduated and was commissioned as a 2nd lieutenant, he went on to carry an unprecedented legacy of service to others as a coach and leader in the world of soccer. Please welcome Mel Crissey. Welcome, sir, and congratulations.
Thank you so much. Such an honor to be here.
Well, it is an honor for us to be able to celebrate your induction, and just as we did a moment ago, would love to offer you the floor to pass along recognition or thanks to any individuals that you'd like to recognize at this time.
Oh, absolutely. First, I want to recognize my beautiful wife, Liz, is here. Both of my younger brothers, Bill and Jim Crissey, and Bill's wife, Glenda, and Jim's wife, Linda, and Jim and Bill are NGC classes of 70. I was 64. But very important to me is a man sitting right there, a classmate of mine is John Douglas, and his beautiful wife, Betty. It was John that submitted my name and my achievements to the selection board, for which I'll forever be grateful.
That is wonderful. Another round of applause for those folks. You know, Mel, when we looked at the introductory video, looking back when you were taking part in the intramural football here so many years ago, could you have imagined then what that would have translated to for your career?
Well, I learned there's some decisions that you should make that maybe you shouldn't have made. Playing intramural football here was brutal. If you got injured, that means you didn't have to go to core practice. And the other thing is I made a decision one day in a really hotly contested game as a 160-pound defensive back to tackle head-on a fully charging 230-pound running back named Thomas Gerard. The collision was such that I was numb and tingling and my ears were buzzing for a week afterwards.
But you made the stop.
I should have just stuck out my foot and tripped him.
Now, you obviously had a long career in the armed forces.
Yes.
Talk about how your time here in the Corps prepared you for that.
There is no better organization to prepare you for both civilian life and military civilian success than right here at North Georgia. When I came here, there were only about 2,000 students. You can't imagine, it was so small. The gym was a wooden gym. There was 2 clay tennis courts and a baseball diamond, and that was about it. But what happened to me was a big transition. I was a Navy brat, and for those of you who don't know, military children are called brats. And it's a organization of loosely held, but it allows us to actually talk with each other in our own language. Up here at North Georgia, I realized that wasn't going to work. So I listened. The old saying is it's better to be thought a fool than to open one's mouth and remove all doubt. I learned decision making and preparation and the ability to execute plans. I would have never learned any other college I can name.
Share with us, please, and thank you for that. Share with us, if you would, the involvement that you had with establishing the soccer programs that you had the opportunity.
Thank you for asking.
Absolutely.
That. Yeah, I started in soccer actually later. It was in the late 70s, early 80s in Korea. And I really fell in love with it, and I found out I had a good knack for it. So as we moved on into the early 80s, I started to go to the U.S. Olympic Training Center and get my coaching licenses and certifications, and I continued that for quite a few years, to the point I got a national coaching license in soccer, both from the United States Soccer Federation and the National Soccer Coaches Association. I was elected as president of South Texas Youth Soccer Association. So every child from age 16 down, from El Paso to Orange, Texas, and from Waco to the southern tip of Texas in Brownsville, I was the president of that organization. We looked at what was happening after age 16. The fall off of participants was just precipitous. It wasn't a gradual, it was precipitous. And started studying why. And I found out why, is that soccer was not allowed in the high schools or junior schools in Texas, or an organization called the University Interscholastic League controls all extracurricular activities. Texas is known for football, right? Football is king. And when you are looking at intruding a little bit on the budget of the football programs, you are enemy number one. So for about 2 years, the president of North Texas Youth Soccer Association, with about 85,000 players, and South Texas we had about 67, 68,000. We got together and devised a plan to, if you can't beat them right away, wear them down.
Love it.
So we devised a plan to start addressing this with the UIL. I found that in Texas we were getting a lot of British and other Western European players coming over and passing themselves off as really good coaches because they had an accent. And they were coaching these, what I would call the elite teams. They were elite in name only, and these coaches were taking the parents for a financial ride. I put a stop to it. I started having every coach that came over here saying I played in the Premier Leagues in England, and I played for the France national team. We had a way of checking through the United States Soccer Federation, was this true? And so I started running them out of our organization. What was the problem was that after 16 years old, that there was nothing for the players to play for anymore. They weren't allowed to play in their high schools, and they weren't getting looked at for potential college scholarships, full or partial scholarships. And we won. We won, and the UIL finally relented in 1983, and in '86, they actually allowed that soccer was alive and well and would be offered for playing in the '87 school year. And that opened the gate to thousands of young men, young boys, and girls, and young women to actually now play for their high school and perhaps get a scholarship.
What an important transition that was, and it's obvious that you have lived a life that is geared towards service to others.
Yes. What
was the genesis? What was the beginning of that mindset?
Wow. I can't name a beginning, but I know that if you think you're the most important person in the room, you're probably way out of whack. And the ability to identify needs, maybe propose a solution, implement that solution if it's good, ask others, and go about your business of making a change. Make it for the good and not about yourself. And that's always worked quite well. That's why I'm right here right now. Obviously.
And to tie that back in also, Mel, to the time that you spent here at North Georgia, obviously there was a lot of that foundation that helped you perpetuate that through the years.
Without a doubt. If there are any parents or grandparents out here who have kids that are still looking for where they're going to go to college, or grandchildren, you're here. You're at it right now. This is the place. I was never told at North Georgia. Let me back up. I was always taught to think, make my decisions, bounce my decisions off of somebody, but make my own decisions. But at North Georgia, I was never taught or told by any of the staff or professors what to think. And that's quite a bit of difference in what we see in this world today.
Huge difference. And
huge.
Obviously, the foundation that you gained here served you well, and you have served so many through the years. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause for Mel Crissey.
Thank you so much.